Good morning and welcome to today's session. Today we are going to discuss predictive models, especially posterior predictive models and posterior predictive check. Our goal is to build a model that can generate new samples. That is why it is called generative models. Today's agenda. First of all, we will discuss Bayesian posterior as prior, predicting new samples using latest parameter distribution, posterior predictive models or PPM, posterior predictive model check, and finally generative models. The key concept that we are using here, the Bayesian posterior is more informative and so reliable, provided our prior distribution and likelihood distribution are that much good quality. The second point is the Bayesian probability can be used as a prior for new model that we have discussed in the previous session. The posterior from lower level can be used for prior as the higher level. It is called a hierarchical Bayesian model. The third one, expectation, is an unbiased estimator. That is why we are using expectation everywhere. Even building new models, we will use expected value. In statistical terms, it is an average, but in probability term, it is better than average. Okay. First of all, we will discuss what is posterior predictive model. The idea is that using posterior distribution, we develop a predictive model. Okay. This model generates new samples from the selected sampling distribution with updated Bayesian posterior. Mathematically, a posterior predictive model can be defined as P of y tilde given sample y is equal to integral P of y tilde given theta into P of theta given y d theta. Now look this, y is our given sample set. Using that given sample set and this parameter theta, I generate new synthetic samples y tilde, which has all the property of this y. Not all the property, with much more better property with respect to updated theta. Now we look into the right side. This is an integral. Mathematically, integral means sum. Then P of y tilde given theta is there and P of theta given y. Then integration variable is theta. Now P of theta given y is a posterior distribution. So we are using posterior distribution here. So this is the posterior probability distribution. Now P of y tilde given theta is the under given theta what is new sample y tilde. Under given theta what is y tilde. Okay, it is only depending on theta. New sample used on the prior theta in the base level, we generate y tilde. Okay, it never contains the information of y. It contains only information of theta. It's a new sample point. Then this P of theta given y is a probability distribution. So what is total integral of P of theta given y? That is a weighting factor here. Integral P of theta given y is equal to 1. Every probability distribution should be normalized to unity. So integral of this P of theta given y, it should be 1. That factor is in the denominator. Actually, the formula is P of y tilde given y is integral of this expression, the whole divided by integral of this probability distribution, P of theta given y. But using the properties of probability distribution, the denominator becomes 1. So this is nothing but an expectation. It's an expectation of P of y tilde given theta in the posterior distribution. It is an expectation of y tilde given P of y tilde given theta in the posterior probability density function P of theta given y. Okay. What is the computation steps to predict new sample? That's a good question because we are using computers to generate synthetic data using given sample and updated parameter values. The first step is we sample a value of theta from the posterior P of theta given y. We simply take values of the parameter theta from the posterior distribution, not from likelihood or prior. We take it from posterior distribution that contains more information about the sample. Now we feed that value, that means that values of parameters into the likelihood or the sampling distribution, whatever you like. So what happened? These parameters will be updated. The same samples were used. So using that we get new samples. That new sample is our new data point y tilde. So using given updated theta, I create a new sample. But this new sample need not be satisfied the required condition. That is next level. We check whether the new sample satisfies the distribution properties of the existing population. That is called the check, model check. As in the case of ordinary machine learning, we apply model check techniques. Okay, the steps are very simple. Directly take some sample values of the parameters theta from posterior distribution and feed it to the likelihood distribution. So it creates a sample. That new sample is y tilde, but the y tilde is not that much reliable. We have to verify whether it is compatible to the new situation or the existing distribution of the population under the circumstances. And we take the model check. That is posterior predictive check or posterior predictive model check. The PPC auto check whether, PPC means posterior predictive check, auto check whether the generated data and the ground truth should look more or less similar, whether the new synthetic data satisfies the quality distribution of the original distribution or ground truth data set. Steps involved in PPC, posterior predictive check, are: 1. Predict the sample using PPM. We simply generate a synthetic sample with posterior predictive model. Then check the deviation of generated model from ground truth model. For that we can use maximal, at least our mean square error. We calculate mean square error or anything like that, no problem. There are RMS value, you can use RMS value there. Then mean square error value. Whatever be the method we are using, then the distance between or the difference between, deviations between theta old and theta new, the theta observed and new generated, y generated and y truth. Y truth when I denote by y cap, and the new generated data is y tilde. Then this difference y cap minus y tilde, that we are using that notation in our linear regression model, etc. That difference, or simply we can use absolute difference, absolute value difference. There is no problem. If that deviation is acceptable, then that new sample generated, the generated sample will be put into the pool of our samples. Report the model performance in terms of highest posterior density and region of practical equivalence. See, this highest posterior density is the measure that is similar to that of confidence interval in the case of usual study. It is not true, it is not same, but there are some similarities. It is an interval like that. This highest posterior density is an interval of these y values, in which in that interval contains more percentage of probability. That interval contains highest probability. That is why it is called highest posterior density. Or in a single sentence we can say that it is an interval that contains highest posterior density. That's all. It is not talking about the value, it is talking about the probability. Highest probability distribution should be in between that interval. And region of practical equivalency is saying that suppose we have the HDF, that we got an interval, then we have some expectation. Our parameter should be like in between these values. That is another interval. If these two intervals are exactly same, or our expected interval lies in between HDF, that means it is acceptable. If it is not contained in that HDF, then what is our observation? Our expectation is not in this interval. This is the optimistic interval HDF. That means this model is not good fit. You can discard that model. There is no other alternative, or reframe the model. The second is, another option is there may be some overlapping. It is not exactly contained. Our required interval did not contain within the HDF, but it is simply overlapping some area. That means these model cannot be accepted, or we don't have any strong information from that particular model, whether it is accepted or not to be accepted. Such an information will not be obtained from that situation. It is a confusing situation, or we cannot take a valid conclusion from that situation. So we expect the ROP, the region of practical equivalence, contained within this HDF. That is the only thing you have to understood from this point. Generative models. As I already told you, generative models are posterior predictive models because it create synthetic data, synthetic samples. A generative model describes how data is generated. That's all. What is the relationship between the input and output? That is like a mathematical equation probability. That's all. In terms of a probabilistic model, a posterior predictive model can generate new samples using the posterior distribution from Bayesian model and a sampling distribution. So such sample generative models are known as generative models. So generative models are same as posterior predictive models. These posterior predictive models are labeled in the single word generative. That's all, nothing more. Some examples that we have already seen: the Navy Bayes in our first term, Navy Bayes classifier and Navy Bayes generator. Then hidden Markov models or HMM, latent deleted allocation or LDA. This is extensively used in our topic modeling and profiling that we will discuss later. Then next is Boltzmann machine, that is also related to NLP. These hidden Markov models and LSTM etc. are used along with our natural language processing or text processing. As a summary, models using Bayes theorem which generate probability distribution for parameters instead of fixed parametric values. That is a main point in Bayesian models. In usual statistical model, we focused on fixed values of parameters. In the case of Bayes models, we are focused on probability distribution for the same parameters. We are not talking on the fixed values. Then second point is Bayesian posterior can be used as prior for either hierarchical or posterior predictive models. We can use the posterior of a Bayesian model as prior for a hierarchical model or sequential model or even the posterior predictive model. Bayesian models often make use of mixture models in the form of priors. This is another important observation. Bayesian models will use a mixture models in the form of prior model. Then Bayesian models can be represented as Kruskal graph models, and accuracy can be reported using HPD and ROP. Highest posterior distribution is one factor, another one is region of practical equivalence. These two measures are used. And finally, you should keep this figure in your mind. That's all about the Bayesian model. So this is the true distribution of samples. This is like an ocean. It takes different structures. You look into the figure, it has different modes. Modes means highest values. One is here, another one is here. Here the highest peak, another one. It's multimodal distribution. So it is a combination of a large number of mixture models. Okay, then I take some samples using probabilistic techniques. How many of you remember the probabilistic sampling methods? Any simple models are there. MCMC. Okay, MCMC is there. Then also Gibbs sampling is there. They are very popular sampling methods, or variational inference can also be used. So sampling can be done. Or okay, Metropolis hosting algorithm. Yes, definitely. We use these sampling algorithms, then create some qualitative samples. Using this sample, I create a Bayes model, so I got posterior distribution. This posterior distribution is our inference from this sample. Then using this posterior distribution, I create new samples, that is prediction, new samples. This is my predictive distribution. Look, this is true distribution, this is predictive distribution. There are some differences. Now validation. Apply this new predictive distribution with our sample distribution. We are not going to true distribution, we are going to sampling distribution, because we take this sample and create posterior distribution, then predict new synthetic samples, compare with the selected samples and the new generated samples. Okay, if that error is acceptable, then we can say that this model is good. Otherwise, again we reformulate it, then goes to again posterior distribution, then prediction, validation. This is like a loop. After certain stage, we get a best posterior distribution that predict new samples from existing samples. Okay, it is almost similar to that generative adversarial neural network in deep learning in IDEA, but in that area we are using some neural networks. Here we are using Bayesian model. That is a difference. So keep this in mind. We collect samples from population, that is our true distribution, using some statistical or probabilistic sampling techniques like MCMC or Metropolis Hastings or Gibbs sampling. Then I take these samples and create a Bayesian model. I got a posterior distribution and create some new generated or synthetic samples from that posterior distribution. Then model check, then again goes to posterior distribution. Do this. After certain stage, we get a best fit model that contains all the distribution, all the properties of the population in terms of probability distribution, not in terms of fixed values, not in terms of mean is like that, median is like that, the 95% confidence interval for mean, 95% confidence interval for variance, not like that. We got probability distribution for this mean and variance or whatever be the parameter. So in future, using this distribution, we can develop the model. See, the data is coming, the samples are coming more and more. Using these samples, we can update the model, and this model will be most predictive models. It is more informative model. That is why Bayesian models are much useful in probabilistic machine learning. Okay, thank you very much.